Hello, beautiful. Welcome to today's Thursday Talk live with me, Suzanna Kaye. I'm so glad to have you here on the live Thursday Talk as well as the Organizing Mindset podcast. Today, we are talking about your organizing personality type because just like pretty much everything else that we do in our lives, not everybody works in the same way and thinks in the same way. That's what makes our country, our world, our lives so much more interesting. But that's also what makes it difficult when you're trying to get organized or be more productive, because not all the advice that you hear out there will apply to you. So, knowing your personality type when it comes to organizing and productivity, that is going to make a huge difference in how you analyze the information you find out there to see, is this for me or is this really for a different personality type? So, if you've ever tried something that you really thought would work, that people say is amazing, an organizing trick or some productivity hack, and it didn't work for you, I am telling you right now, it's not necessarily your fault. It might have been for a different personality type. So today we're going to talk about what the different personality types are and a little bit about how to work with them. And then at noon, if you are my Path members, then with the Path members, I am going deeper and we will talk about how those personality types, your specific type, will work into your productivity and getting things done and succeeding at what you want to succeed in this year. So we will go even deeper if you are a Path member. If you're not a Path member yet, I would love to have you join me. You can join me at suzannakaye.com and click on the shop. And when you do, you can sign up. It's $25 a month. And if you find that it's not for you, then you can cancel anytime. There's no long-term commitments. Try it out, see if it's your jam. And if not, that's okay. At least you tried. But we have so many resources for you within the Path membership to help you get more done and reach your goals. Okay. In the comments, let me know who you are and where you're joining me from. I always love to hear who's here. I see CJ. Oh, and you know what else? I would love to hear. I got new curtains, but I feel like they are very busy behind me on this video. If you're watching on the podcast, you might have to check out the video and the video link in your description so you can tell me, what do you think? Like, should I have these curtains? Should I change them back? I feel like it's very busy behind me, but it might just be me. So let me know in the comments that as well. All right, CJ. Good morning, CJ from sunny Northern California. She says, it looks like a great day ahead. The fog is lifting from the weather in her brain. I know how that is. Welcome. Hey, Lori from Ohio. And Mary is here from cold Syracuse. Wendy's here from rainy Oregon and Oregon. I'm not sure how you say it there. Melanie's here from cloudy Southern California, and Kathy is here. It's rainy in Pennsylvania. Debbie's here from wet and foggy Indianapolis. Cheryl from Dothan, Alabama. And Melody from warm but rainy Fairfax, Virginia. I'm so glad that you're here today. Welcome. As you hop on, let me know who you are and where you're joining me from. And yeah, and tell me about my curtains. Tell me what you think. All right, well, let's dive in. This is not the show about the curtains, but this is the show about the 4 organizing personality types. Now, as you listen to these different types and the descriptions, let me know what do you feel sounds the most like you? Now, most people don't have only one type. So it is okay if you say that more than one of these sounds like you. Occasionally, there is somebody who actually has all 4 almost equally. That just means that you are much more adaptable to different situations and different techniques. That is fantastic. It does mean that it's harder to figure out what's going to work for you, because most things will work for you depending on what your mindset is at the moment. But it is not a bad thing at all. That means that you have more options to choose from. But most of us will have 2, one primary and one secondary that influences us, but our primary is the one that is the most influence on us. And if you're not sure which you are, then I do have the free organizing personality type quiz. It's in the description of the podcast and the video. You can go to suzannakaye.live/personality quiz. That's SUZANNAKAYE.LIVE/personality-quiz. And you can take the personality quiz for free right there and get not just your results, but some tips on how to work with those results. All right, let's dive in. What are the 4 types? Type number 1, the administrator. Number 2 is the counselor. Number 3 is the inventor. And number 4 is the CEO. So let's start with, what are the basic traits of each of these? So our administrators. Most of the people that I find in our Path membership or in my courses are either the administrator or the counselor. We have a lot of administrators though. So those are the top 2, and the administrator and the counselor. The administrator is probably the top. So if you're an administrator, then you're an even bigger fit into the membership. All types can work really well in the membership because I do think about each personality type as I talk about things, but it is very helpful for my administrators and my counselors. All right, so the administrator. Think about if this sounds like you, or if some of the others sound more like you. The administrator is our more traditional organizing style. So these are the ones that you will hear more advice leaning towards administrators, because a lot of professional organizers and productivity coaches actually are administrators. So they speak about what they know more than I know. For myself, I love to dive into the different psychology behind our productivity and our organization. So I like to speak to all the different types rather than picking just one style and talking about it. So they are the most traditional style that you hear about when you hear advice out there. They can handle and actually love the most detail out of all of the different types. They are great with routines, and they love to be the go-to person for information. They are your data source. So they would be the one in the office, if you're at work, who knows all the facts and figures, has the paper saved from 20 years ago that has the data on it. Those are your administrators, and you need them. You need each of these types to make a strong business and a strong community. And they are our finishers usually. Usually they are the finishers, not the starters. The next one, the second one, which is our second most popular within the Path membership and Paper Path course, is the counselor. So our counselor, these are kind of the, some administrators are also counselors, but as far as their organizing styles, they are very different from our administrators. They have our big hearts and they like to put other people first. So they're very much caring about other people in a more emotional way. Our administrators still care about other people, but one of the ways they like to show their care is taking care of the details, making sure that all the boxes are checked and that everybody's protected and has what they need. While our counselors, they tend to be the girl that you would go talk to when you're emotional, and they're going to see how you feel and remember your birthday to make sure that you don't miss that birthday card. Those are our counselors. They love a beautiful or fun environment. So they're more likely to buy those fun office supplies, that bright pink glitter stapler instead of your basic black swing line. And they're great communicators. They're also very often caregivers in a situation. So if you need somebody to take care of you, your counselors are most likely it. If you're going to be up for a long phone call with more emotion, then that's your counselors. There are loves. Then the third one is the inventor. The inventor. Now, I'm actually mostly an inventor. This is my primary personality type for organizing, which we can be difficult. We're like a box of kittens on Red Bull. So the inventors, we're creative and fast moving. So our brains going. We are future thinkers. So instead of thinking about what happened in the past and keeping track of the past, they focus on what's coming up, new ideas. How do we get to XYZ ahead of us? They tend to be the starters. And not often are they finishers. So they might start a million different projects and they don't always finish most of them. more ideas than time to do it. And these are the least traditional when it comes to organizing styles. So the techniques that you would use with an inventor, primary inventor type or strong inventor type, are going to look drastically different from most of what you hear. That's why I have some things that I've created that are very out of the box as far as the normal organizing, the organizing advice that you hear out there. So there are a lot of things that you hear from me in the Paper Path course or in the Path membership that you may have never heard before, because a lot of times the things that'll work for the inventors also do work for some of the other personality types. They're just very different. So they're not something that most people would have even thought of. So I'm adapting things a lot of times that will work for all the different types. So like the action file or the Spark Life Binder, those were created with all of these different types and their strengths in mind, as well as the Path membership. It's really focused on, okay, how do we serve all of these different personality types? And that's why in the Path membership, you see that we have some live work sessions with our group hikes, and we have the office hours where you can pop on and ask questions. And a lot of our administrators and counselors love to attend those. Those are really helpful for those types to have something on their calendar, something where they know that they're going to be there for that certain amount of time and keep them focused. And then we have things like little challenges, the monthly challenge downloads, and the Facebook group, and the papers database. Some of our inventors like that because it's quick information, quick go to get the data that you need, get your answers that you need. They like the office hours for that reason too. So that's why some things are very different in my little universe. And then finally, the last one, and we don't see as many of these in the Path membership, and I don't talk about these as much because this is the one that's least likely to reach out for help. Actually, it's not that they are the least likely to need it. They are the least likely to reach out to get help. And these are the CEO types. And this is actually my second personality type. So this is my less dominant one. So the CEO tends to be that leader, the focused one on, again, future thinking, but they are the big picture. They're usually more goal driven. I'm not as goal driven as somebody who's a strong CEO type, but I'm very much a big picture person. They can step back and see all the different parts of the system, see the roadblocks and the objectives and the obstacles ahead. So they're very much that person who's watching what's ahead, leading the charge, saying, hey, I see the best way to get there, the most efficient way. Follow me. We've got this. And they thrive on efficiency and making measurable progress. So efficiency and making measurable progress. They love to be able to have data to support their intuition about what progress they've made. And they pair so well with those administrators who can get them that data at the drop of a hat. So those are our 4 different types. Now, most likely you've got an idea of which type you are. I'd love to hear which type you are in the chat area. So let me know that. If you're not sure, or if you just want to verify if you are right, then you can take the free organizing personality type quiz, and you'll get your type and some suggestions how to work with your type and how to adapt things. Really quickly, I want to hop over to the chat area. And then after that, I want to talk about each of these types and just a couple little bullet points of, okay, well, how do you work with this type? You know, how, if you are this type, what are some tips for you? What are your obstacles that you need to consider when you are figuring out what organizing advice is for you? All right. And oh, great. I asked about the curtains if they were too busy behind me because they're new and feel like it's a lot going on. But yay, Suzanne says, love the curtains. She says, I've been thinking they were new. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Suzanne. Oh, great. Nice to meet you, Aaron, and have you on here. He says that he might have to hop off soon because he has a meeting, but it's an interesting topic. And yes, I do have videos that you can access later. You can find this one as well as other videos on my YouTube channel. So you could just look up Suzanna Kaye, and if you Suzanna Kaye Organizer, you're definitely going to find me. And yeah, I'm glad that you're here. Eloise, welcome. She says, with lots of love. Thank you, Eloise. Sharon is here from Texas. Welcome. And We have Rosella from New York. Hi, Rosella. Lisa is here. And yeah, and she's chatting with Rosella too. Great. Kathy says that she is probably the counselor type, but she hasn't taken the quiz yet. A lot of times we can kind of have a sense of what our primary type is. So it would be interesting to see what your quiz says once you take that. I have a feeling that counselor is at least your less dominant, but probably your most dominant, I would guess. All right. Remember, if you are one of my path members, when we talk at noon, we're going to finish the next step of setting our 2024 goals and making sure that things are in place to be able to reach them and track the progress and all of that. And during that time, we will also be talking about, okay, well, what is your personality type, your organizing personality type, and how do you integrate that and adjust things so that way you're more likely to succeed this year at whatever it is that you're planning. Really quickly, Melanie said, okay, Melanie tried the link and it was not working, but I will double check that as soon as I'm off of my lives today. So come back after the lives. It might just have a technical problem. Ever since we changed the backend system, had a bunch of problems that we're trying to work with IT to get back up and running. Technical. Debbie says, I think inventor and counselor, but I want to take the quiz. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about each of these. The administrator. If you're my administrator, remember you are the one who can handle and you actually really love the most detail. Now, a number of the other ones love detail and they might use detail often. They get in these like little sprints where they're focused and try to put things very detailed, but they can't always maintain it as well as an administrator can. Now, nobody can maintain extreme detail. That takes way too much time, and then you simply can't get to doing all the other things that you want to do. So that is one of the main weaknesses that an administrator needs to be aware of, that they can fall into the trap of over-organizing and perfectionism. So if you do love that detail, try not to let yourself go too detailed because it simply takes way too much time to keep up or to complete all of those super detailed things that you have on your list that you could manage to get by, maybe not as simply and easily and quickly, but you could get by without them. So if you fall into the trap of over-organizing, getting into that too much detail and perfectionism, be aware of that and try to back off because that's why you can't get through your to-do list. Because you are simply doing a lot of things that don't need to be done, or you're doing them to the level of detail that is no longer effective. It's no longer producing enough results for your time. So you're going to want to broaden the categories that you use within your systems and be very careful to figure out on your to-do list, is this really more of a busy work and perfectionism and a want, or is this something that really needs to be done? Now, our counselors, our successful counselors, you are our wonderful just in case people. Our administrators are just in case with information and data and paperwork and all of that. Our counselors are just in case with everything. Everything is, but what if I need it one day? Or it could be useful. This looks like a really useful shaped jar, those types of things. You're just in case person because you want to make sure that the people that you care about and the people around you have everything they need. So a lot of times you will keep things just in case somebody might need it one day. It's not even necessarily for you. And you also often have troubles with boundaries and motivation and focus. So if somebody asks you for help, it's very hard for you to ever say, no, I don't have time, or I can't right this moment. Could I help you out? X, Y, and Z. And it's easy to get off track as you're working. So some of the things that help a counselor be successful, though, is to fulfill that need for connection and beauty and just that love that you have in the world with colorful or beautiful office supplies. Decorate your office. Get yourself some new curtains if you want to. Make it a place that you want to be. Make the pen a cute pen that you would enjoy using. Make your stapler that pink bedazzled stapler. That's fine. Enjoy where you're working, and you're going to have an easier time working there. And simplify your systems. Try not to have systems that are very complex and have a lot of different categories, a lot of different steps. If it's too complex and it's not something that makes sense how it flows, if it does not have a flow, even more importantly, it's not for you. It's not for you. Make sure that you know how something travels through your system and that the system can be quickly managed. And set boundaries. I know you don't want to, but sometimes you do need to say no and let somebody figure things out for themselves and empower them to become stronger by knowing that they can handle some things on their own, and avoid those just in case things that you do for others. It's okay to do some, just be careful about how many you do. And it's okay to help people some, but don't let it throw you off and keep you from getting done what you need to do for yourself too, because it doesn't always go both ways. If it goes both ways, awesome. If they're really good at helping you out just as much, those are the people that we want to help more. And make sure you're working with your energy levels. If you are a counselor, you are more likely to have times where you are more focused, more detailed, more motivated, and times where you're not, and your body and your brain just need a break. So try to work more during the times that you're higher energy, and during the times that you're not, give yourself a little bit of a little slack. Really quickly in the chat area, I want to say hi to Tina. She says she's a counselor type. Love your chats. Oh, thank you, Tina. Thank you. Melody says, my number one is counselor. I'm a nurse, licensed counselor, and caregiver. See, that is not surprising. And my second characteristic, she says, is administrator. Oh, yeah, I could totally see that. I could totally see that for you. That's awesome. They're really good ones. Those are the people to have around, I'm telling you. Kathy says, OMG, yes. Sounds about right, huh? I love it. All right, let's talk a little quicker about our inventors and our CEOs, because there aren't as many of you in this group, but you might have a secondary type that's an inventor or CEO, or you may be one of our more minority here, like me. I'm a minority in my own group. All right, so our inventors, remember, these are our future thinkers, our creatives. They're going a mile a minute. They're our idea people. Now, the successful inventor, the weaknesses for them are finishing. Great starters, not good finishers. So finishing what they start, focus while they're working and not getting distracted by the next new great idea. Habits are not easy for inventors. They don't do well with routines and details. So if you are an inventor, you're going to take that simplifying to the extreme. Make handling all of that administrative work, the routines, the daily stuff, the managing the information and papers, and make it all as simple as possible, to the point where if an administrator saw your system, they would die thinking about trying to work within that system, because it would be too hard for them to find anything. It would stress them out. But the inventors, you're the ones that might need just 3 file folders, work, personal, and I don't know, other, something like that. We're talking really extreme with simplifying these processes for the boring habits that you don't like. You can get motivated, though, through your emotions and your passions. So if you need to get something done, try to tie it to emotion and passion for getting it done, because you are driven by things that you find meaningful or exciting. Work with your energy, because you are a ball of energy. There's 2 speeds to you. There's off and there's on. So when you're on, try to get that work done that you would normally not want to get done, the stuff that's more boring or that takes more energy and focus. And when you're off, let yourself be off and just recuperate for the next time that switch is flipped. And then do not, I know it's impossible, but don't take on new projects until you're finished with old ones. And there are a number of different ways that you can do this. I've got a bunch of different tricks that I share often, but if you have a bunch of projects that are started but not finished, any of you who are my starters, then try not to take on and start anything new until you finished something that is still lingering. So those are for my my inventors. You guys are a lot of fun. I think so because I am one. But yeah, reining yourself in is going to be your hardest bit. Now, our CEOs. Remember, these are the more goals, they're big picture, they're future thinkers, they thrive on efficiency and moving forward. So our successful CEO, your weakness is slowing down to clean up. Forcing yourself when you've finished whatever task it is. Remember, the task is not done until you've filed the papers that went with it or put away the supplies that went with it. So slow down and finish the task completely by putting things away. You're the king and queen of piles of paper on the desk, of things that have been finished, but it just never gets filed. And for you, the small details, the things that you think are irritating, the things that just feel like they get in your way of moving forward, those details are still important. So taking time for those details. So with my CEOs, you are the perfect people for paperless, because when you can scan a piece of paper and just file it really quickly in, your online files and find it really quickly later by typing in keywords, that is where you thrive. You thrive on that efficiency that, okay, let's get it off, out of my sight. It's done. I don't want to see it. And then it's still there if I need it, but I can find it quickly. And broad categories are for you as well. So not necessarily as broad as the inventor, but very broad. So that way it's very efficient to get something filed, to find something when you need it. Streamlining processes and having visually clean systems. For you, clutter slows you down mentally and frustrates you. You might not even realize what it is that gets you so irritated and anxious. But if you are a CEO type, it's probably because the visual surroundings are not calm. So you do best with calm, clean surfaces, clean areas, clean, streamlined systems, ways of doing things. Think efficiency when you think of yourself. And schedule time for organizing. You are good if time is scheduled on your calendar. You are good at getting it done, but you have to actually remember to schedule it and honor that, because that's not necessarily something that makes you feel like you're moving forward. And finally, motivate yourself by visualizing the importance and the effect of organizing, of putting the papers away, of creating the system, of doing all the things that you don't necessarily want to do, but that will help you be efficient in the long run. So visualize how much that will help you in the future in order to get yourself motivated. So those were the 4. Lori says, and oh yeah, this is so you, administrator and counselor. Yep, that is so you, Lori. I love that about you. You got that soft side and you're very focused. You're a finisher. Love it. Rosella, she says, I feel like I have a counselor and administrator type personality. I am trying to reduce both, especially the counselor type personality in me, because it's not always appreciated. I would say, Rosella, don't reduce it. That's one of the beautiful things about you. Pick and choose who you choose to share it with and who you choose to give that special energy that is yours to. If they don't appreciate it, spend time giving it to somebody who does, because it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful part of you. Do not lose that. It is so important to be true to who you are and give it to the people who truly want it and deserve it. If they don't want it and they don't appreciate it, then that is okay. That's nothing bad, but there are other people out there that will, so focus on them. You're so sweet, Rosella. Melanie, she says, I think I'm a counselor and inventor. Ooh, that would not be surprising to me, Melanie. Yeah, counselor and inventor. You might have a little bit of administrator in you, but I could see that. That'll be interesting to find out once I get that link fixed for you. Lori says, because I'm so detail oriented, I can't maintain my systems. Right? The too much detail can get in our way and it can make things so difficult. And it's not something that's very easy to just, snap your fingers and change about yourself. There's a lot of fear that goes into letting go of some of that detail. Um, and that's just, yes, sometimes you just have to hold your nose and jump in and trust that everything will work out, and do that several times in order to see that it does work out. And that's how you take your baby steps. But yeah, you're going to have to sit with a lot of discomfort. Each one of the personality types have something that where they have to sit with discomfort, like Rosella. Sit with the discomfort of not helping somebody in the way that you want to because they don't appreciate it. That's so hard. Then that's the counselor's discomfort. The inventor's discomfort is slowing down and letting go of an idea that comes to you, even though it's an amazing idea. Sometimes you just have too many of them, so you have to let them go, and that's not comfortable. Not comfortable at all. And the CEO, it's not comfortable slowing down and doing all of the little detail things that need to be done for the administrative side of life, and not, barging forward, going ahead, making progress towards the future. So we all have our discomfort. Absolutely. Oh, you're so welcome, Rosella. Awesome. Yeah, I love your big heart. I would hate to lose that. CJ says, primarily administrator and counselor, but see myself in so many other attributes or failings named. There's a lot of crossover with some of these different weaknesses and attributes. Each of the types that I mentioned, when I talk about their attributes, they're just extremely strong with that type. And when I talk about the weakness, they're extremely uncomfortable and difficult for that type. But a lot of these, it's a spectrum. It's not a black and white, this, you either are this way or not. It's how much are you this way? How much are you detail oriented versus, or how much, a better example, how much are you a finisher versus a starter? If you tend to finish things a whole lot easier, more often, and you don't have a ton of things started and not finished that are like on your to-do list type of started, then you're probably more finisher type. But if you have a million projects that you've started and you just aren't finishing more before you start another one, and they're all on your to-do list because they all feel important. Yeah. So it's a spectrum. It's a spectrum. Well, wonderful. This was great. And yeah, and thank you for letting me know, Suzanne, that the curtains are okay and they're not too busy behind me, because yeah, I guess I'm just getting used to them. Sit in the discomfort, right? All right, so tell me in the chat area, what type are you as we go through the recap? All right, so the recap is we have our administrators. You're more of the detail person, and you can handle detail a bit more than other people, but that can be a problem for you. You're also great with routines. So anything that has routine, tell me what to do and I'll do it. That's really good for you. You guys are our finishers. But yeah, that's perfectionism and over organizing. That can be your struggle. So our counselors, they've got their big hearts. They put others first. They're the communicator, the caregiver, and you love a fun and beautiful environment. So you love those fun office supplies, the fun curtains. Now, my successful counselors, remember, boundaries are really hard. Don't give your energy and all of this love that you have in you in a way to somebody who is not appreciating it. Adjust and sit in the discomfort, sadly, but give it to the people who really love and appreciate it. And motivation and focus can be tough for you. Things such as the group hike, where you get together with other people and work at the same time, those are great for you, because having people around and positive surroundings, positive energy work really, really well for you. My inventors, you guys are creative, you're starters, you're future thinkers, you're my least traditional people, but finishing things can be hard for you. Make sure not to start way more than you finish, or at least it is okay to not finish and just let it go. Let go of some old projects that you started. It's okay. They don't all have to be finished. They just, don't let them pile up. And work with your energy, because you've got the biggest energy peaks and dips. And our CEOs, you're our focused, forward thinking, you're always moving forward and you're efficient. Your weakness is that you need to slow down and handle all those little details to finish things up. So you're a finisher when it comes to the task, but finishing really does include the cleanup and the filing and making sure that it's all put away. So all those little details, recording anything that needs to be recording, that's what you need to focus on and schedule time to do it. So there we go. I love talking with you today. If you are not already a Path member, then you can become one at suzannakaye.com and just go to the shop page and you can join anytime, cancel anytime. Just see if it's for you, because a lot of these types can do really, really well, especially my administrators and my counselors do really well with the Path membership. And it can just help you get more done and make sure that you're working on the right things. So you're not spending your time working on things that are not moving the needle forward as much as you really want to, because you can be amazingly successful when you are focused and working on the right things. It's astounding what you can do. All of us inventors and CEOs, we seem like we do a lot, but we just aren't doing the little detail stuff. So we cannot get things done as well or as quickly as you when you're truly focused on the right things. All right. In the comments, I wanted to say to Melanie, she says, if y'all saw my place with projects everywhere, you'd understand my inventor thoughts. Not enough finished. I love that. That means that you've always got some great ideas. Oh, Kathy says, I really enjoyed listening to you today. Thank you. You're so welcome, Kathy. Well, keep being amazing. My Path members, I will see you later today at noon for our noon deep dive. And we'll talk more about how to adjust your intentions and goals for 2024 and your planning, so that way you can really maximize on some of these strengths that you have and work towards your strengths. So I look forward to seeing you then. Either way, I love you so much. I will see you soon. Keep being amazing. Keep being yourself and embrace all that you are. I will see you later. Bye, beautiful.